Episode 1. The Spare Key. When I moved into Hoshino dorm, the receptionist apologized before she even looked up. She said the old digital lock on room 317 had failed again, so until maintenance replaced it, I would need a spare key from the basement archive. What she handed me did not look like a spare key. It was a heavy brass key with its number half scratched away, wrapped in yellow paper that had gone brittle with age. On the back, someone had written in red ink, "Do not use after midnight." I laughed because I thought it was a stupid dorm prank. She did not laugh back. That night, the elevator inside the West Wing started stopping one floor too low. The panel would blink B, then go dark, then show a single number that did not belong in our building. 0. The first time it happened, I stepped out for only a second. The hallway below the basement looked exactly like ours, only older, wetter, and silent. Every door stood open. At the far end, under a flickering exit sign, a girl in an old black school uniform was waiting with her head tilted, like she had already been told my name. She had my face, but her braid was longer, and the cuffs of her sleeves were burned black. I hit the close button and the doors shut between us. Before they sealed, she lifted her hand and waved like we had known each other for years. When I got back to my room, the brass key was warm in my pocket. I turned it over and finally saw the number carved under the scratches. It did not say 317. It said 017. Episode 2. The camera feed. I should have thrown the key away, but the next morning room 317 was already changing around me. My desk drawer stuck for no reason. The mirror over my sink fogged from the inside. At night, I heard someone crossing my floor barefoot, always stopping beside my bed, always leaving before I could move. So I bought a cheap indoor camera and aimed it at the room to prove I was sleep deprived and imagining everything. For 2 nights, nothing happened. On the 3rd night, my phone screamed at 3:14 in the morning. Person detected in bedroom. I opened the live feed and watched my room from the corner camera. At first it was empty. Then the girl from floor 0 crossed the frame in silence, one hand trailing along my desk like she was reading my notes through her fingertips. She sat on my bed. She stared directly into the lens. Then she lifted one finger to her lips, and the camera audio filled with breathing that was not mine. I ran to switch the light on. The room was empty. My blanket was still folded. My chair had not moved. But the live feed on my phone kept playing. On the screen, she stood up from the bed and walked toward my door. She looked into the hallway where I was standing, then smiled at me from inside the phone. The next morning I confronted the resident assistant. She went pale when I said room 017. She unlocked an archive cabinet and showed me an old incident file from 1998. A student had gone missing in the West Wing after claiming there was another dorm floor below the basement. Her room number had been 017. Her face in the photo was mine. On the back of the file someone had written, "If she is seen on camera, she is already inside." Episode 3. The name on the door. The archive file included one more thing, a building sketch with a maintenance staircase hidden behind the laundry room. According to the notes, it led to a sealed corridor that no longer existed. I waited until the rest of the dorm was asleep, took the brass key, and went down alone. The laundry room smelled like wet plaster and old smoke. Behind the broken vending machine I found a metal door with no handle and one small keyhole. The brass key fit perfectly. On the other side was a narrow service hallway lined with Polaroids, dozens of them, all pinned to the wall with rusted sewing needles. Every photo showed me in places I had never stood. At the dorm gate in winter, inside the girls' bathroom, asleep at my own desk. The oldest Polaroid was dated 1998. In it, The missing girl from the archive stood outside a door marked 017, and behind the glass I could see myself looking out. Then the closet door at the end of the hall began to knock from the inside. 3 slow knocks. A voice that sounded exactly like mine asked if I had brought the key back. I told myself not to answer, but the knocking turned into scratching, and the hallway lights flickered in time with it. When I opened the door, there was no closet. There was only the West Wing corridor, bright with early dawn, and the girl standing in front of my room. Up close she did not look like a ghost. She looked tired. Relieved. She said she had been waiting for me to come back for 28 years. I asked what she wanted. She touched the brass key and whispered, "Your room." The door behind her swung open. Inside, my bed was there, my books were there, even my phone was charging on the desk. But above the frame, the number plate no longer said 317. It said 017. If you want episode 4, type 0 in the comments and follow AI content before the key finds another lock.